Hey guys, Bike here, and I'm back again with another Last Epoch build guide video. This one's going to be my season starter for season 2 of Last Epoch. So, if you're interested in the build planners, there's 3 of them in the description down below. They're all different versions of a Bleed Hammer build. You guys kept asking, what am I going to be playing? And I said Bleed Hammers, but I'll wait for patch notes. Well, we got patch notes yesterday, and Bleed Hammers looks like it's still on the menu. I'm not exactly sure how it will behave. The thing is, yes, I am a Last Epoch creator. No, I'm not on the CT. That is the test realm. So I have not played any of the test realm for season 2 of Last Epoch. So I don't know how certain things behave. So that is why I created 3 different planners to go over, and we shall see how they work out. The first planner is going to be pretty much what I did in cycle 1.1, but updated for season 2. I pushed past 1,000 corruption with that build. Was it the greatest Bleed Hammers build of all time? No, but it was pretty good. I was able to do pretty well with that build. And then the other 2 are more hypothetical, more theory crafted, if you will. I don't really do a lot of theory crafting. I'm a very big put my hands on there, test it, see how it feels. I will admit all 3 of these builds are kind of Gucci, Cadillac, if you will. So I don't know what a reasonable expectation is for all of these builds to be able to get them. It's just the first one's probably going to be the most reasonable, most like, yes, I can tell you that will most likely work out very well. And then the other 2 will, they're more theoretical. So let's go ahead and jump into the planners. All right, guys, here we are in the planners. Please forgive the ads. Last Epoch Tools is a great site. I love to support them, and they use the ads to get some revenue. So I'm not going to knock it at all. So let's go ahead and look at these planners. So we have 1, 2, 3 planners. The first planner, this is what I'm most familiar with. This is what I'm going to be able to say with a lot of certainty that this is good. This one, I'm not exactly sure. It's using a lot of new systems as well as a couple different items. And then this one is a hybrid of both of them. Makes sense? Let's start with the first planner. All right, so let's go over the gear and talk about some of the skills. So first off, with the idols are pretty much the same for all of them across the board. This one has a little bit different idols. So what we're going for here is we're going for critical strike multiplier and increased armor and armor mitigation. The thing is, I don't know if we're going to need this much armor mitigation in season 2 for dots, because dots got nerfed. All right, so I might not need a Decayed Skull. I might be able to get away with the Leonines. Maybe. Decayed Skull is just a comfy pick. And I put armor mitigation on all of my idols. The thing is, I'm going to be honest with you guys. When it comes to these idols, I don't know what the expectation, like what can be expected. I know the first 2 affixes we can get. I've gotten these affixes before. These are very comfy. Like, I can get these, but it's the crafted affixes, you know, the Weaver's Will. I'm not exactly sure what the investment is going to be to get these. So I remember they said you can put 2 tier 7s on there and you can craft them and eventually get there. But will you be able to get both of these? I'm not exactly sure. If I had to take a pick of what's more important, it's probably the increased armor. But here's the thing, that critical strike multiplier, 11 to 13%, you tie right here on these 2 idols, and then 8 to 9% on these 2 large idols. That's going to be a lot of critical strike multiplier. That's going to help feed Salt the Wound. So that is the idols. Let's go. I know it's kind of different from the way I normally do stuff. Let's go ahead and talk about the gear. So we're using Decayed Skull, Fizz Pen with Bleed, all that good stuff. Champion Regalia, more armor mitigation. Right now we have so much armor mitigation against dots. Like, I'm gonna feel good about this. So more armor mitigation. We're looking for Fizz Pin, I think is more important. And then if you happen to have it, you can seal like a chance to bleed on hit. Your most important affix on your chest piece, your Champion's Regalia, is going to be increased health and strength. Strength is also a good pickup here. Moving on to the belt, I'm using the Spider Silk belt for the resistances. You're looking for mana regen, physical damage, hybrid health, and then seal a cleanse affix. I think that'll be very important. Let's talk about the axe. We're using the Dragon Bone axe, chance to bleed on hit. You're looking for a T7 chance to bleed. After that, your next important affix will be critical strike multiplier. Then after that, it would be physical damage, chance to chill or slow. And you can go from there. You could also alternatively go for physical pin. Nihilus, I feel like I'm one of the few people who use Nihilus for a Bleed Hammer build. Most of the time, you'll see people use Bleeding Heart in this slot, and Bleeding Heart is good. But for me, I love Nihilus. Brought a lot of health, a lot of mana, movement speed, mana regen, armor. The list goes on if you get a good one. So because of the change that they're doing to legendary crafting, we can guarantee a 1 LP now. We can guarantee it. So Nihilus 1 LP, bro, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. You could also just use a Bleeding Heart or an Oracle Amulet. Flayer's Pride. So here's the thing. We're gonna jump ahead to the other planet real quick. So Countenance of Majasa. This is a brand new shield that's coming into the game. It is an Iron Glass shield. Iron Glass shields include, well, the Iron Glass shield, but also Bulwark of the Last Abyss. They have the highest, at least as of right now that I'm aware of, the highest implicit block chance. And they offer good block effectiveness. And the legendary potential on this is going to be low. The thing is, I'm going to be surprised if this does not catch a nerf. Now, it might be too close. It might be too close, and they're just going to put this out. If that's the case, this shield looks like it will be broken. All right? It's going to require level 72, but effective legendary potential of 40? I mean, this thing looks nuts. Look at all the defensive potential that you get on it. The block effectiveness. The block effectiveness that also applies to damage over time. You're going to be able to use your block effectiveness against your dots. Like that just kind of boggles my mind. And then you can petrify enemies. It works against rarer enemies and bosses. Imagine petrifying Uber Aberoth. Now, it has a greatly reduced duration or chance. Oh my gosh, it's just a reduced chance. It's not even a duration. I'm just realizing this right now. So, I mean, it's very unlikely, but imagine petrifying Uber Aberoth for 2 seconds. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it is balanced, but on paper, this thing looks really kind of nuts. So yeah, this is probably your best in slot, but because of this first planner being what it is, I'm going with comfort, what I know. So Flayer's Pride is very good for me. Valdir's Chalice, we're going for critical strike multiplier. Let's explain why I keep trying to, pass critical strike multiplier onto you. If you don't know what Salt the Wound is, let's go ahead and explain that. We'll come back to Valdir's Chalice. Salt the Wound converts up to 50% of your added critical strike multiplier and converts it to physical pin with bleed. All right. This build right now has 407%. All right. 407% critical strike multiplier. Now this is added multiplier, right? So only you get 200 base. So 207 critical strike multiplier. Let's say you have a 50% on this. Cut that in half. 100, and let's just say 103 fizz pin with bleed on top of what we got on the helmet and the chest piece. Brother or sister. Oh man, this is going to be pretty strong. All right, Salt the Wound was already very strong. It doesn't look like it caught any sort of nerf, and these idols are just like all this critical strike multiplier we're going to be able to get on our idols. Assuming this is how they work, this is going to be very strong, plus the guarantee a T7 on a Valdir's Chalice. Now, if you have 2 LP, you will want T5 health to go with this, but yeah, very strong. You're going to want Blood of the Exile for your boots, and let's come back to Valdir's Chalice. This is our only source of sustain. Gives us chance to bleed duration, physical damage over time, leached his health. Very strong. We also on kill gain health. On kill per stack of bleed on the target. A bit of a mouthful, but this is great for clearing monos. Doesn't really help you too much against bosses unless they have a lot of ads. But that's where the 2% of physical damage over time leaches health comes in. If you are struggling with sustain, let's kind of jump into the passive section real quick. All right, you can take some points out of here. I recommend only a max of 10 points in Void Knight. Put 5 points into Devouring Blade and get that health leech. You can even put some more in here if you want. You can do that, or you can run a Bleeding Heart in this spot right here. But yeah, that right now that is the gear. Let's go over the rings real quick so I don't miss anything. The rings, Ivory Ring, great ring to have. Necrotic resistance. I'm a big block effectiveness kind of guy. So double T7s here. You get the block chance and block effectiveness, throwing attack speed, mana regen, and then whatever stats you need. Try and seal a throwing damage mana cost for throwing skills on each ring. Tier 1, because at tier 1 it gives you the same value. Tier 1 to tier 5 it's the same value. It's the tier 6 and the tier 7 for these minus mana costs that you see that number go from -3 to -4 to -5 respectively. All right, yeah, so let's go ahead and talk about these blessings. So there is a node here in the passive tree where endurance threshold per 2% uncapped elemental resistance. So let's go back to our defenses here. So right now we have a lot of endurance threshold. This is way more than you can get in live right now. And we have a good amount of elemental resistance. You might notice something here. Bike, why are you not taking the lightning? That's going to give you more endurance threshold. If you didn't know why this number is so high, endurance threshold got changed in season 2. It's now like 20% of your health, I think, is the baseline now, whereas before I don't know what the formula was. But yeah, you're going to get a lot of endurance threshold. And if you don't know how endurance threshold works, essentially, whenever your health falls into this number, whenever my health falls into that 1200 range, I get a 60% damage reduction. So the higher this number, the more of your health that you'll get this 60% damage reduction. This is a great change for life builds. So you can see right here, we get 861 endurance threshold for our health. Then we get 144 from Defiance. It's very good. And then we get 240 endurance threshold for the Symbols of Hope. We'll go over that in a little bit. So let's get back to what I was saying over here. Why have I not taken the lightning? Let me show you. Our endurance threshold went up. All right. It went up. Like, by all means, it went up. It went up by about 30. Now, that's not bad, right? That's good. But in my opinion, I like the comfort of having extra mana on a build like this. That is why I choose mana. But I wanted to point it out to you guys real quick. We'll talk about let's go over the other blessings real quick. Increase XP, body armor drop rate. Who cares about that? Grand Body of Obsidian. You're going to want to take armor, block chance. You guys can look. It's in the planner. Weaver's Tree. I did set up something here in the Weaver's Tree. The thing is, this is just me messing around. I don't think this is necessarily going to be... This is me just putting points to see how it works. So it's there. You guys can just kind of look at it. Don't go, this is the gospel. All right. This is me just kind of messing around trying to get a feel for the system. Okay, so that is the gear, that is the blessings, that is the idols. Let's go ahead and talk about the passives, and then we'll get into the skills. So I'm not going to explain what each passive point does, but I am going to point out the bar is right here, so you can go ahead and just follow along for what you need, and we'll go over some alternate strategies, right? So I'm putting 5 points here in Relentless. You'll see I do it much later on for that stun avoidance. The increased damage is like whatever, but I wanted that increased stun immunity duration. It's a 5-point bonus. I wanted to try it out. You could also put 5 points into Fearless. I put 5 points into Blade Master for sword attack and axe cast speed. And then I put 5%. I put 5 points into Valiant Charge. I always put 5 points into Valiant Charge because there's a cooldown recovery speed for movement skills. The thing is, this right now is my only movement skill, an unspec shield rush. I might end up doing away with this. Who knows? If that's the case, I put 5 points into Fearless. We're just taking the block chance and the bleed chance with Axe. So let's talk about, and then we already went over this. This was an alternative that you can do. You can grab the health leech down here if you guys need it. The good thing is these two nodes are generic health leech. This is for melee and void damage, but this is a very good node right here. Void and physical damage minus 5%. This is a good dip for any sentinel. Okay, we're coming back over here. So 5 points into Defiance, I think, is a very good pickup. It stacks very well with Holy Aura, right? Also, you know, we deal more damage with our remaining health, so we need to, it's a base off our percent health, but we need to just make sure we stay topped off whenever possible. Valor got a nice change, so we get the endurance in Valor now. So I only put like 6 points here just for what I needed on the endurance. This is kind of an annoying change, but the block chance in Honor now requires 3 points instead of 1 point that it used to before, so it's whatever. Holy Icon still pretty much the same, but if you put at least 5 points here, you get the health regen. It should be able to help us stay to sustain. Put 1 point into Blinding Light. This is a really ballsy move, okay? This is our only source of critical strike avoidance. So I use this in cycle 1.1. I put like 3 points in here, so I might end up doing the same, but this is my only source of blind. That is my only source of critical strike avoidance. You may notice no Leonines, no Citadel boots, no critical strike avoidance, no critical strike avoidance. That's because I'm using the blind mechanic. I did push this into 1,000 corruption. So in cycle 1.1. Now, I will admit it wasn't a super clean whatever. The main thing that really hurt you were spires, because you'll take hit damage from anything that hits you, including ranged. And hammers, even though they are sort of quasi-range, are essentially melee. So when you got, you know, nice big hammers going around and you're blinding enemies, you're not blinding spires, you're not blinding siege golems, you're not blinding those dudes who ride the beetles and throw the spears. I think you guys get my point. This is super ballsy, but I enjoyed it. I figured I'd point it out in case you wanted to try something else. In the other builds, we have moved away. Well, I still put at least 1 point here just because it's cool, but I've taken an alternative. This is super good right here too. Force of Devotion, throwing Frailty. Don't have to worry about getting onto your gear, especially with a hammer build. You have so many chances to apply stuff. Just having a 10% chance to apply Frailty is all you need. Really, it is all you need. This is so cool that you can get Frailty in the tree for free. Well, for 1 point, but I mean, essentially for free. Sanctuary Guardian, this got a really nice buff. It's not just armor with a shield anymore. It's armor, it's cast speed. We don't really use a cast speed, but the all res with a shield, chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. Also, shield wall is no longer just a 1 point node. It is now a 4 point node, but it gives you 8% block chance, up to 8% block chance. Let's try and close that. Up to 8% block chance, health gain on block, and less stun duration on us. We also get less dodge chance. Oh, well. These are going to be your main nodes right here, Penance and Redemption. So let's take a look at Penance. So it's still the same throwing bleed chance. It did not get touched at all, 120% with all 8 points. Let's talk about bleed duration per 20 endurance threshold. All right, let's go ahead and pull up a calculator. All right, so we had 1245 endurance threshold. We're going to divide that by 20. 62.25%. Let's just say 62% bleed duration. That is like a free Blood of the Exile. That is like 3 of the large idols bleed duration that you get added with our current level of endurance threshold. And our endurance threshold is not the highest. You can get it higher. That's what the other planners are for. Yeah, guys, this is going to be very strong. All right, and then Redemption, physical pen with bleed. This is just a great pickup. Obviously, you still have the kind of, kiss curse mechanic of, well, now we have a higher chance of getting bleed ourselves. That's why this node, the cleanse, is very important. Okay, let's talk about the skills. All right, so I currently have my hammer throw set up like this, but force of impact is no longer for hit damage. It's now hammer throw deals more damage. And if you didn't know, whenever hammer throw gains a generic more damage multiplier, that also applies to the bleeds that it imparts. So this is 40% more damage right there. You need at least 1 point for rapid throw. Assuming you're good, you can even pull a point out of ballista. Now, granted, you lose some damage, but you can pull a point out to put here to gain another 10%, right? You could go for this. That's a lot of damage, guys. That's a lot of damage, and it's all possible because of Nihilus. Ayo, okay. Or you can even take a point out of Hammer Vortex if you like. It's something I've done for my my Void Hammer builds. But yeah, I think this might be a good setup, but I haven't haven't been able to test this. So because of that, I've gone with this setup. This is what I'm familiar with. So that's what we're going for. Smite, just a generic, just stat bump. This is just such a great skill. Such a great skill. We proc, if you don't know, we proc Smite with the idols. Chance to cast Smite on throw and attack hit. We only need 2 of them. We're not really trying to use Smite for any real damage. We're just trying to use Smite to help impart bleeds on their own and then help blind enemies and then give us that 20% attack speed. Sigils of Hope are now Symbols of Hope. So what I went for, and this could change, I went for the Endurance Threshold, right? Went for the Endurance Threshold, the mana regen, the damage, the Symbols of Hope gain rate, Enduring Hope, Tetragram, Meditation, Sign of the Guardian. So this gives us 3% block chance per active symbol. It's very good. Very good. I think this is just going to be a great change for Symbols of Hope. You just gain symbols naturally. I just think the whole thing's very nice. Holy Aura. So this is pretty much the same setup I always use. This is a very important node now, that elemental resistance, right? More endurance threshold. You're trying to grab Expedite as well for that haste chance, attack speed, physical damage, another source of cleanse as well as poison resistance. Let's also talk about Abyssal Echoes. I have tested this. It is good. All right, so we used to use Volatile Reversal, right? Volatile Reversal would give us this huge amount of damage over time the enemy would take for like 4 seconds. That's very good. It's not exactly the same anymore. It's been changed a lot. There are some enemies take damage over time, increased damage over time nodes in there. It could be a thing. I haven't tested it. I'm going for what I know and what is comfortable. And I have tested this. So this is live right now. This is not CT. This is Aberoth on my current version of Bleed hammers. It's using gear very similar to what I'm wearing, except not as good. It's not as good as what's in the planner, but the damage is not like as high as it was with Volatile Reversal. But whenever you're able to hit those 999 stacks, you press Abyssal Echoes and boom, you instantly do all that damage. And then you start applying more at increased damage because of Abyssal Decay with the Crumbling node. It's good. It's good, guys. Like, I think this is, especially with the bleed duration change, I think this is good. Let's bring it back. So this only works off the initial burst. This is probably going to be more used for your bosses, right? I mean, it'll take some damage off the other enemies, but this is going to be for your bosses, so you can get that big time hit on the enemies, right? We take Crumbling. So the idea would be we hit them with some hammers, but we hit them early with Abyssal Echoes, right? We hit them early to make sure they have Abyssal Decay or Fragility. And then you start dealing damage. You start dealing damage with hammers again, and you have all that insane bleed duration, and you quickly hit 999 stacks. Consume. Boom, boom. The cycle repeats. They get hit with another thing of Crumbling. You start getting the hammers on them again. You get 999 stacks. Consume. Repeat that. Okay, you guys get it. I am very excited for this. This is going to be Abyssal Echoes, man. It might even catch a nerf after this season, man. Like, I think Bleed Hammers is going to be kind of strong. Oh, okay. I'm going to try and I'm going to go over these next two things. So here we are again, now talking about these two. So yeah, to be clear, this is what I'm aiming for on season start, this one. But we have these two over here as well. This is more of a theoretical thing. I'm not going to go and explain everything I did with the other ones. I'm just going to explain the main differences. So this one, we're using the set crafting. We're using the last bear set. So this is going to allow us to get more strength, more armor. So just for reference, we had 5,000 armor, 65 armor mitigation on this version. On this version, we have 10,000 armor, 78 mitigation, 100% block chance, block effectiveness. It's using the Countenance of Majasa. It's using the Broken Shield, and it's using set crafting. I don't really know how well set crafting is going to be. I haven't played in CT, so this is just a theoretical theory crafted idea. So last bear set, the last bear's Fury on the gloves. So we lose the Salt the Wound. So I had to take Critical Strike Multiplier off of the idols. And here I just put health. This is definitely the tankier version. All right, let's look at the defense. I know I'm kind of all over the place. I'll bring it back. So our sorry, sneeze. So our effective HP against dots and hits and one shots. Look at that. 112,000 damage against physical hits. It is 42,562 right here. And then if we go to the hybrid, it is 78,513. This is going to be super tanky. All right. And I don't think I've grabbed any tanky nodes. Like this is going to be super tanky. I'm trying to maintain the damage. I think this is going to be the highest damage. I'm going for that. But this is super tanky. right? We're using the new crafting system. We're getting the 3-set bonus here. So we're getting the 30 strength and the +2 endurance threshold per strength. We're getting a lot of endurance threshold. All right. The passives are still the same. The skills are still the same, right? I haven't got dipped into this. It might be good. We still got the smite. We're still going to use sanguine eruption. The bleed duration on this is going to be even longer. Let's go to max. We're going to have 1,745 at max endurance threshold. So let's go ahead and open our calculator again. So 1,745 divided by 20 is 87.25% increase bleed duration. This is going to be nuts, guys. We're still using the same Dragon Bone Axe, except we've removed the critical strike multiplier. And for this one, I added physical pen, but I mean, you can go with the slow chance if you want. The gloves, obviously, we can't use Salt the Wound, which I think, like, yeah. Can't use Salt the Wounds, but we can use the Last Bears. We can use Eternal Gauntlets. All right, so we're using the Eternal Gauntlets, which gives us armor mitigation, also applying to dots. It goes hand in hand with this build. This setup's going to be very tanky, all right, especially with this. We're using the Blood of the Exile. We put health on Valdir's Chalice instead of critical strike multiplier. This is going to be super strong. All right. Same thing. I just went for mana, but you could take lightning resistance. Black Sun timeline main change is I went for the health instead of the critical strike multiplier. You will also notice we have 5,704 health with this setup. Almost 6,000 life. Oh, well, excuse me. That's if we get max. Excuse me. That's if we're max. If we're average, we're 5,000. That's insane. Okay. Average, we're at 5,000 life. Now, again, this is the Cadillac. This is the Gucci version. This is all ranges max, which will be a lot easier in this season because of the crafting changes. And you notice I've only put 1 LP on everything except for this. This one, I'm pretty sure we're going to be able to get 2 LP. So, yeah, this could be pretty attainable. We'll see how the whole set crafting thing goes. But yeah, now let's talk about the last planner. So this one, we go back to the critical strike multiplier on idols. We're using the broken shield. We're using the 2-set bonus. We're using a 2-piece of the bonus. So we notice here is the average endurance threshold right here, right? The average, here's what it is now, right? So this has 120 more. And then on the max end, this ends out at 1,585 versus 1,745. So this is tankier, but this is definitely tankier than what I got here. We're using the Leonines and the Champion's Regalia. We're using the 2-set bonus. And we put strength on the Leonines, and I already had strength on the Last Bear. Spider Silk Belt, same reigns. We went back to critical strike multiplier on the Chalice and the Axe, and we're using Salt the Wound here again. I think this will be a really good balance between the both. You get the critical strike reduction. You get the reduced bonus damage taken from critical strikes from Leonines. You get the blind chance on all 3. You get the idols. This will probably eventually be my in-game setup. All right, I'm going to be shooting for this, but I think this will be the in-game setup. If we look at the armor, this one, it has 6,821 armor for a 71% armor mitigation. All right, so yes, this is tankier, but this still has 102 block chance, just like this one did. 102 block chance. This it's capped on everything. We're able to take all these blessings. I think this will be the final setup. This would be the one I'm going for. So the third planner is what I think will probably end up being the way to go, so we can get the damage and the tankiness. I think this will be most damage just because it's using Flair's Pride. but this is probably going to be what I eventually settle on. All right, guys. Yeah, that's the video. Thanks for putting up with all the ads and with me rambling. I'm very excited. This is all subject to change. This is absolutely all subject to change, but I'm really excited for season 2. I think Bleed Hammers is going to be super freaking strong. You guys take care. Peace out.